because he asked us not to. He's worried because he says he claims he does know this suspect. He saw that suspect and was able to tell us that that person, he had several interactions with him, that he does believe that he does live at that home where officers and SWAT members are focused in on right now. And he said he had several conversations with him, and as far as he could tell, he was just a normal person. He was shocked to find out that he was wanted for several different charges. He saw the picture actually on Click to Houston and came up to me and said, "Is this the guy that the suspect that police are after?" And as we, explained to him what the situation was, that's when he was able to give me that information. But he did tell us that he did know that that man lived in that home. So again, that is the home where SWAT members, DPS, and Houston police are focusing in on right now. In the last few minutes, we've seen a little bit of movement. The heavy guns are here. We saw the bomb squad, the armored SWAT truck. And so at this point, it's a lot of standing by and waiting from our vantage point as officers wait for word from those up on the front lines, those SWAT members. But not much more than that. It was, I will say this, it was a quick conversation of just, come out peacefully, and that was as much as we could hear. Of course, there's a helicopter overhead, and then there's a train tracks not too far away, so it was hard to hear exactly what the dialogue there was, but some dialogue, at least on police's end, on law enforcement's end, into that home, trying to get that suspect that our sources have identified as Mr. Caballero to come out peacefully. So again, a lot of wait and see, trying to figure out what is going on right now. People in this neighborhood as have been here with us since the very beginning. We got here, I want to say about 3:45, and those folks, again, lots of traffic in this area, lots of people going. Chris, we talked to CVS pharmacy, a Walgreens across the street. A lot of those folks visiting those convenience stores, a barbecue joint just across the street. So a lot of folks in this area having to be moved out as law enforcement officers get closer to that home. And again, strategically, nightfall, you see officers getting a little bit closer, and from my experience, sometimes that nightfall, the darkness, sometimes helps law enforcement to get a better tactical advantage and where they want to be at, specifically knowing that it's hard to see outside. So again, lots of information still being gathered right now. We're still waiting to hear, get information from concrete information from law enforcement as far as if he is the only person inside that home, if there's anybody else they're looking for. The same person that I talked to earlier said he had some communication with this alleged suspect, said that he saw two women running from that home at the same time, trying to figure out who those females may be and what their, if any, connection was to what happened here today, or if they were just innocent bystanders. So a lot of information left to still be gathered and to be figured out here. But again, the presence here more controlled right now than when we first got here. Law enforcement officers, again, around 3:45, still trying to gather information, still trying to get a handle on this scene. So what we saw as we were pulling up is a lot of officers pulling up at the same time, going to their trunks, opening up the back of their patrol units and grabbing their armors, their weapons, their helmets, and then getting in a strategic place where, again, no one can get in and out of this area except for law enforcement officers themselves. Again, folks trying to get home, but officers explaining to them, listen, there is a dangerous person inside this home, and we are worried about stray bullets, and so we don't want you anywhere near this. And again, that a person telling us they heard 30 to 40 rounds, another person confirming the same information. So we've heard that from several people, that they've heard. One person, just to be exact, said 20 to 30, and the other one said 40. So somewhere in between there is what you expect. And I actually, I mentioned this earlier, we finally got the video. We're trying to upload it as we speak, but in that video that I saw, you could hear some gunshots, and you could see some of the smoke. We're hoping to try to get that up to you guys here in a little bit, and when we get a chance to, we will. But you could hear screaming, and you could hear people hiding. And then if you can see one of those the heavy-duty machinery going up the street here on Lockwood, getting closer to the scene. So SWAT member on top of that right now. So SWAT members are moving around, but as far as most of law enforcement just kind of moved back from the grassy area where they were before. Before, when we got here, they were sort of strategically placed behind, as you see at many of these scenes, behind their vehicles for protection, and now they have moved back even further. So they're letting the SWAT members make communication with this suspect and try to get him out peacefully as they sit here and wait as backup if needed. You will certainly see these gentlemen move up if something is to happen here.
All right, Bill Barajas live for us there on the scene. We've been telling you that we've been waiting for Mayor Turner and Police Chief Finner to address the situation and hopefully update us on the condition of the 3 officers who were shot this afternoon in this shootout. And you see them making their way towards the media right now. They're at Memorial Hermann Hospital, where those 3 officers were rushed when this happened and are still being treated. We have been told that those 3 officers are in stable condition, and we've also been told their injuries are not considered life-threatening. So that is good news to report about those 3 officers. But still, as far as the details about where they were shot and their prognosis, we have not heard. So this will be the first time that we're able to get more information about that, and also ask some questions to the police chief about exactly what happened there on the streets today. Again, that shootout happening over at McGowan and St. Emmanuel Street in the 3rd Ward after a family disturbance call came in from the 5th Ward a little bit earlier. As he gets there to the podium, we will begin to listen in.
Looks like Mayor Turner on the left, Chief Finner there in the middle, and Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee on the right, as they are addressing the media for the first time.
Not taking this on or keeping this on? You gonna leave? I'll leave it on. Let me get things started. Standing, of course, here with Chief Finner. He'll be speaking in a few minutes. Appreciate Chief Pena from the fire department being here. Thank you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, for being here. Councilmember Karen Levin Shabazz, and all of these men and women in blue, police officers. Kind of give you a brief update, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Chief Finner. Let me just start off by saying we are certainly praying for our police officers who were shot today. I will tell you, one was shot in the foot, one was shot in the leg, and one was shot in the arm. All of their injuries are non-life-threatening. Had a chance to visit with each one of them, and even with some of the family members. All 3 officers are in good spirits. All were talkative, and we expressed, number one, our support of them, how appreciative we are of their service, and how grateful and thankful that their injuries were not a lot worse, because it could certainly have been a lot worse. So again, all of them are in good spirits, and their injuries are non-life-threatening. Had a chance to talk to all of them. This has been a tough week. Starting on Saturday, it's been a tough week. It's been a tough week for law enforcement, and it's been a tough week for the city as a whole. Quite frankly, for the city as well as the county. What it indicates again is that being a police officer in this case, or in law enforcement, is an inherently dangerous job. Every single day, when these police officers leave their homes, go on their particular shifts, not knowing what they will encounter in that day, being a police officer is an inherently dangerous job. And so I cannot tell you how proud I am of every single law enforcement officer that serves our city, that gives their all in the service of our city. And so I want to ask the people in this city to continue to lift them up, to continue to be very supportive of them, to let them know that we are very supportive of them and that we appreciate them doing everything they can to keep the rest of us safe. These are inherently right now dangerous times, and that was demonstrated again today. We are living in inherently dangerous time, and it's going to take all of us working together to create and have a very safe city. There are a lot of guns on the street. Quite frankly, there are just too many that are on the streets and in the hands of people who will use these guns at a second on a notice. And again, this is one of those situations. Person gets out, person starts shooting. And now we have 3 police officers who are in the hospital with gunshot wounds. So I want to continue to be supportive. Now, let me just say this. The chief and I, on next week, we'll lay out some additional steps that we intend to take in this city to do our part as a city to try to make this city a safe city in which to live. So next week we'll lay out some additional steps. I won't go into those steps today. But I'm going to ask people in this city to work with police, to work with Crime Stoppers and others, to participate in helping to make this city a safer city. And if we work together, we will do that. We're going to get through these times. And I know there's a lot of people are fearful right now, justifiably so, but we will get through these times. But in the meantime, please pray for these 3 officers that their recovery will be very quick, that they'll be able to get back on their feet and then get back to their jobs in the line of duty, doing what they love to do each and every day. Having said that, Chief Finner, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Congresswoman, Councilwoman, and Chief Pena, Union, and all our other leaders. Thank y'all for standing with us. Mayor's hit on a lot of the points. I just want to say one thing. I want everybody, all our leaders, before I update you on what happened out here on this scene, no more excuses. Everybody, take an active role and get intentional in doing whatever you can do to fight gun violence in our city, period. It's not really a difficult thing. Bad, dangerous people, it's a place for them, and that's in jail. But let me give you the update. So approximately 2:42 p.m., officers responded to a residence on the 1500 block of Trolley Street. The suspect at some point spotted the officers. He took off in a vehicle. Officers pursued the suspect to McGowan and Hutchison Street. The suspect crashed. Officers, as they got out of the vehicle, the suspect immediately fired upon the officers, striking 3 officers. All the officers returned fire. It is unknown at this time if that suspect is hit. Once he got out of that vehicle, he carjacked at gunpoint a white Mercedes-Benz. Other officers pursued him to a home in the 1800 block of Lockwood. Officers surrounded that house. The suspect fired multiple times. Thank God he didn't strike any of the officers. Officers returned fire. Again, we don't know if that suspect is injured. He's still in the home. We treat it as a barricaded suspect. We'll give you an update as I receive it. The last update I've received a few minutes ago, he's still in the home. We're trying to negotiate to get him out. We got 2 crime scenes. The officers who fired, they're going to be on administrative leave after they get out of the hospital. But the mayor said it, and we're just grateful to God that they're all right. It's been a tough week for law enforcement in our city. And the two law enforcement officers that we lost, continue to pray for them and their family as we plan for their funerals. That it's tough. When I received that call today, 3 officers down, and you don't know the condition. But I'm going to tell you, stand by your law enforcement officers. Stand by the justice system. And we're going to continue to work here in Harris County, Houston-Harris County, to make sure we're doing everything we can do. But we need help from everybody. And remember what I said. And this doesn't go for individuals who need treatment, suffering from drug addiction or mental illness. But these violent individuals, I'm damn tired of it. And we need to stand up as a community and do whatever we got to do. If that is to have more jail capacity, let's get it done. No more excuses. Questions?
I'm sorry. Question, let me just say this. I do want to thank the police officers who transported these wounded officers to Memorial Hermann. And I want to thank the Houston Fire Department, Chief Pinion, for being right there promptly and for transporting officers to Memorial Hermann. And then let me thank the medical team and the staff, the nurses, the doctors here at Memorial Hermann each and every time. They do an exceptional job of going over and above, providing excellent medical care to our officers, to firefighters, to people who find themselves in need of care. You just couldn't find a better place. So, you know, we took the time, in addition to thanking firefighters and police officers, thanking the medical team and the medical staff. I do want to say that, you know, we provided resources to the police department. We'll provide even more. It's going to take all of us at every level to step up and to do our part to make this a safer city. And we will. We will make this a safer city. And we will provide our police officers with all the resources that they need. But I do want to say next week that we will be outlining additional steps that will be taken to reinforce police officers and others who are out here fighting to make our city safe each and every day. But I do want to thank these police officers and firefighters and others for being on the front line and for doing an exceptional job on behalf of the people in our city. Thank you, Chief. I'll give it back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Go ahead. Questions?
What was the original call? How did they end up coming in contact?
Just some type of disturbance call, family disturbance, possibly because it's at a residence, but it's still active, and that's what I have at this time. Go ahead.
A couple of sources of mine told me that the gunman might have been using a weapon modified with like an auto switch.
I can tell you this, and I can't confirm it because, you know, but what officers described it as an automatic, a fully automatic weapon, and that's something else that we need to address in our community, and we will.
Do you think the suspect still alive, do you think?
I'm not sure. I don't know. They're still out, you know, trying to negotiate with him and get him out, so we don't know at this time.
Has he been communicating?
No. Go ahead. Yeah. Give us 1 second and we're going to get through with these and then we'll do the, okay. Hold on. Let this pass.
We've heard there could be 50 plus shots fired. Is
that could be accurate. Multiple shots. Multiple shots. Yes.
Chief, did you see that some of the officers were transported by other officers?
Yes, I think 2 officers were self-transported by one of our patrol officers, and the third was from HFD.
Can you tell us about the condition of the person that was carjacked? How's that person doing?
I hadn't heard any injuries on that, and we hope that's the case, but we'll follow up with you on that because I don't know at this time. One question over there, I can't see through the lights. Go ahead.
That was the same question, but did you find other weapons inside the Charger?
That's part of the investigation, and at this point, I don't know right now. That scene's still active. Go ahead.
Sorry. Were some areas was evacuated because of the danger, because of the...
I'm pretty sure that that's a residential area out there on Lockwood, and that's what we do. We try to evacuate everybody around there, keep them safe.
Can you describe the suspect's knowledge of the home he's barricaded in? Is that a home that he knows? Did he break?
I'm not sure. I just can tell you it's a single residence home, a one-story, I think. Yeah.
Tell us any more about the suspect himself.
I don't have any suspect information right now. Nothing confirmed. Okay.
Was there anybody in the home when he went into that home?
I did get some reports that there were some residents in the home and they ran out when he came, but we don't believe it's anybody in there right now but the suspect, but we need to confirm that.
So no potential hostages?
Not at this time. Any more questions?
Was the Lockwood address like a random place that he went to, or did he go there for...
I'm not sure. Yeah, not sure, Randy. Thanks.
Chief, this callous disregard for the law, for law enforcement, the lives of law enforcement, what do you attribute that to?
Hey, who knows? But I know one thing, Randy. We need to address it, and we need to deal with those individuals. And one thing that people miss sometimes, it's not most of our citizens. It's a small group of individuals that's committing habit. Our city is a great city with great people in it, and we're going to stand up for them, and we're going to find out a way to deal with those very few, very violent individuals. So thanks for that question.
Chief, could you let us know about the ranks of the officers injured?
Everybody is, I'll give you the
3, 4, and 5 years.
3, 4, and 5 year. They're all officers from Northeast. Thanks for asking. All right.
So they continued to, participate in the shootouts after they were already injured. I mean,
Let me tell you something, and that's what people need to understand about the great men and women on our police department. You have some brave officers that put their line on the line every day, and I'm proud of them. And make no mistake about it, we release videos, and citizens are going to see the fight in them when they have to fight.
Quick question for the mayor. You said that you're going to announce some initiatives next week. Are you talking to other cities? Because you know that this is happening across the country.
It is happening across the country, but I would tell you I'm primarily concerned about what's happening in the city of Houston. Over the last week and a half, Chief Fenner and I and others have been talking about additional steps that we intend to take to protect the people in this city and to make this city safer. A more comprehensive approach. Quite frankly, that was going to be laid out this week, but so much has taken place this week. So we will unfold those initiatives next week. But the crime in this city is too high, okay? And it is important that we do everything on our part at the city to combat that. Now, even everything that we will announce next week need to be augmented and supplemented by other levels. We have way too many cases that are backlogged, criminal cases, over 100,000. That's unacceptable, okay? So there are many additional things that need to take place. But in terms of what the city can do, we will lay out those additional steps that we intend to take next week. I do want to acknowledge Doug Griffin, head of HPOU, and thank him and the union for their collaboration all throughout this. But those initiatives will be announced on next week.
All right, that's it. Okay, one more, and we'll let Chief, you want to translate for us? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Where did it start? This Street did it start? I know it was around 3 o'clock, right?
Yeah, 3 o'clock, Trolley Street.
Bueno, buenas tardes. Mire, estamos aquí para informar a nuestra comunidad que...
All right, you have been listening to a news conference there right outside of Memorial Hermann Hospital. Chris Gutierrez, Daniela Guzman joins me on the anchor desk now. Several key takeaways from this news conference. Number one, the 3 officers all sustained non-life-threatening injuries. One officer was shot in the foot, another officer in the leg, and the 3rd officer in the arm. Mayor Turner went into describing essentially law enforcement as an inherently dangerous job. Meanwhile, we have a suspect barricaded inside a home, and we have now confirmed, Daniela, there has been no line of communication established between law enforcement on the scene there and the suspect inside that home.
That has been something that we've been wondering this entire time, because we see all the machinery, the SWAT team ready and wanting to make contact with this suspect, trying to end this peacefully, bring him out, start that negotiation process. Many times they use tactics like using emotion, trying to get to family members to talk to these suspects to try to get out and end this peacefully. Of course, the top priority being law enforcement being safe. And so they brought in all this machinery that we've been seeing, the Bearcat, a bomb squad, also that sort of modified Bobcat, to try to get, as you have mentioned, as close as possible.
Sure.
To approach this suspect and try to get him to come out. But we've been wondering, and now confirmed that they have not been able to have contact. There has been some question as to if this suspect could be injured. He was shot at. There have been some reports that they believe that he could have been injured or wounded by gunshot wounds. But again, that has not been confirmed. But HPD, their priority to make contact with this suspect, and confirming just now that they have not been able to do that.
You're right, Daniela. And we've also confirmed through that news conference that this suspect had a fully automatic weapon in his possession. So we know that this started around 2:42 this afternoon with a family disturbance call. When the initial officers arrived there on the scene, they chased this suspect over to that McGowan location right there east of 59 and McGowan. At that point, the suspect crashed his vehicle, got into the initial shootout with police where the 3 officers were shot, as we know are now in stable condition. All will be okay. After that, he carjacked another vehicle, aggravated carjacking because he had a weapon, according to Chief Finner. From there, he ended up over off of I-10 in Lockwood. Our live team coverage continues now with our Bill Barajas live there in that neighborhood where the barricaded situation continues at this hour. Bill, what are you seeing right now?
Well, right now, much of the same. Officers sort of huddled up at that intersection of Lyons and Lockwood. Not much from the side where we could hear that PA system earlier this afternoon. Again, we got here at about 3:45, and that's when you really saw officers running and rushing to the scene. Now, over the last few minutes, we've been spending our time talking to folks here, residents, people that are in the area. One of those residents gave us some video where you can clearly hear what I had mentioned earlier, those shots. One gentleman told me 20 to 30, the other gentleman 40 shots. I want to play that video for you. I'm going to be silent here so you can hear the first few seconds where you can hear those shots, as you mentioned that weapon, Chris. And I'm not sure if that video is playing or not right now. I don't have a monitor in front of me. But again, we are at the scene, Lockwood and Lyons, where we had some video from a gentleman who lives in the area, did not want to be identified. But in that video, you can clearly hear several shots being fired. He told me that he had also come across the suspect, Caballero, and that he had seemed pretty normal to him, at least in those few interactions with him. And it was shocked to hear that police were here looking for him. He did say that that's where he believed Caballero lived, in that home that SWAT officers are focused in on right now. So a shock to the community here. Did not expect this, obviously, today. A shock to law enforcement, as you heard in that press conference. Just a long week for law enforcement. As we've mentioned before throughout our live shots, I was at Houston Police headquarters downtown at a press conference earlier today where they were applauding the arrest of what they believe is a man alleged to have killed a Harris County Precinct 5 constable, corporal at the constable's office, Corporal Charles Galloway. And while it's a sad situation, law enforcement agencies, local, federal, and state, were applauding the effort to arrest what they believed is the suspect. And then maybe an hour later, you had this call out for this scene here, and for a violent scene where you had officers rushing with body armor, helmets, and their rifles. So a very chaotic scene from the beginning. Officers have now controlled it. They have set up caution tape basically at every corner, every intersection near this area. Folks have been evacuated. Folks who live in the area, folks who were just hanging out in the area have all been pushed back, and they are waiting right now to get in. But one of the things that stuck out to them, and I've mentioned this several times before, one of the several things that stuck out to many of the folks here waiting, trying to get back to their homes, was that officers told them, look, we need you to get back because we are worried about stray bullets and what could come. Again, folks telling us they heard 30 to 40 gunshots. So officers with every right had a fear that there would be a stray bullet and somebody would get injured. So they had pushed everybody back. Since then, it has been pretty quiet, just officers huddled. We've seen them bring in the heavy machinery, the Bobcat, the bomb squad. We've seen ATF on scene, so federal agents here as well. We've seen the SWAT armored truck. So well equipped is law enforcement right now to handle this, and they are doing so. We heard them over the PA system trying to communicate, open that line of communication with the suspect, telling him to come out peacefully. That was maybe 45 minutes to an hour ago, and it was quick. It was a couple quick commands. We couldn't make them all out because there's a helicopter overhead, but a couple quick commands.
Hey, Bill, real quick,
there was any response.
I want to cut in real quick because we have located the video. So let's rack up the video. We'll pause and we'll listen, Bill, and then we'll get your reaction on the backside. Let's listen. Okay, Bill, so we're looking at the video now. Go ahead.
Yeah, that video, Chris, it's a bit grainy. It's hard to see, but it was from somebody that was here at the scene, was told to hunker down and to just try to stay out of the way, be careful because of what was going on. They were there, he said, for a few minutes before more law enforcement officers showed up, and they told him, you know what, instead of hunkering down, get out, evacuate. It is not safe to be here. So that's exactly what they did. And as we showed up, when we first showed up and started showing you images of what we were seeing, you could see families running with small children in hand, running away from the scene. We mentioned earlier we were on Lockwood and Lyon, and that home appears, from our vantage point anyway, to be a couple blocks up Lockwood, away from I-10. So getting folks away from the scene, because again, one of the concerns was stray bullets, and you heard some of that gunfire in that video. The video taken from afar, so really it's hard to see what's going on, but you can definitely hear those bullets and that gunfire. So folks taking precautions, law enforcement taking precautions, and with very good reason, because for all intents and purposes, it does appear that there is a very dangerous individual locked up, and he is not willing at this point to come out peacefully. Chris, we'll send it back to you guys. Again, we will keep an eye on this scene unfolding, developing scene since about 3:45 when we showed up.
Hey, Bill, I quickly want to ask you here. So we have been told that there's not been a lot of communication between law enforcement and the suspect. You have been on the scene. It's getting much darker, which may make it a little bit more difficult, but maybe they can get a little bit closer. Have you heard any commands recently, or are they trying to still make contact with this suspect? Have you heard anything? Because you can hear where you are, from where you are.
Again, just very little dialogue. We heard a quick command, and it was hard to hear because we're pushed back. But we could hear a command to come out peacefully. But again, the dialogue there, the conversation was not. It did not last very long. It was pretty quick,
so
and
no
then
luck
it went back to silence.
And the suspect could be, fatally wounded inside.
Right.
We just don't know at this point. Bill Barajas, thank you for your reporting. Obviously, Mario Diaz and the others there on scene. We do want to get a check of our weather this evening.
Because weather is changing, and we all need to know about it, Frank.
Shifting gears completely. If you need me to stop and go back to you, just let me know.
Will do. Thank you, sir.
Okay, this is a beautiful sunset. Just got this from Lake Houston, so thanks for that click to pin. Do have a nice sky out there. In fact, high temperatures today on the warmer side than we've seen. 64, 63, 62 down in Galveston right now. It's a pretty night. 59 with a northeast wind at 5, humidity 46%. Look at that dew point, 38. It's nice and dry out there. So all in all, it's going to be a lovely evening. Down in Galveston, 55, east-southeast winds at 7. If you're headed down that way for the weekend, it's going to be beautiful, a little cool on Saturday, a bit warmer on Sunday, and it's restaurant week, so that continues throughout the weekend all the way till February 13th. Right now, temperatures in the mid and upper 50s, so on the cool side, 60 in Sugar Land, 62 in El Campo. The dew point's right there in the 30s, so it's very dry. Humidity nice and low, not much wind. If anything, it's coming out of the east and northeast, so we're going to see some cool reinforcements on the way as we move into tomorrow. So our evening forecast is at 56, 4, 53, 51. So right there in the 50s. I'll pick it up at 11, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock rather. 49, we go right on down through 11 to 5 a.m. and you can see 42, 43. So that's about what we will wake up to. Low 40s tomorrow, and then we're into the mid 50s only for tomorrow afternoon. There's a little system that's going to try to move right across. It won't bring a whole lot of rain with it. You can see down here, coastal counties, 9 a.m. This cold air, though, that moves in as we go into the weekend. So sunny and cold for the weekend. Notice Monday, that's when we get into another shower opportunity that moves right across for Monday. In fact, the rain amounts easily 1 to 2 inches. So let's pick this up then on Monday. There's that system. This is what we've been watching, and this is the American model, which still wants to bring in some potential for some type of winter weather as we go into Thursday. So this is still out there, so we'll at least keep an eye on it. You can see that pink is a winter mix, and it includes part of Harris County. Now, the European, on the other hand, has nothing to do with it. All rain, and that's it. So certainly want to keep a close eye on next week, but enjoy the weekend. It's going to be really nice. Not worried about much rain tomorrow. 56 for a high, 62 goes to 66. Monday, 80% chance of rain, and then Wednesday and Thursday, Groundhog Day, we will watch that mess for you.
Thank you, Frank. Quickly recapping tonight's breaking news. We know that 3 officers have been shot, all of them with non-life-threatening wounds. 1 officer was shot in the foot, another in the leg, and another in the arm. Meanwhile, the suspect in this case remains holed up in a house off Lockwood and I-10 on the north side over there, out on the east side. Roland Caballero is his name, and right now police are still trying to make contact with that suspect.
They don't know if he's injured. They don't know if he's been fatally shot. But they are still trying to make contact. We will stay on top of this. Our reporters on the scene also get the latest on our website, click2houston.com. We'll see you tonight at 10.
Hello, I'm Chris Gutierrez with KPRC2 News, and here are some of the stories making headlines tonight. 3 officers are in stable condition after a chase turned into a shootout in the 3rd Ward. That chase started in northeast Houston and ended on McGowan and near St. Emmanuel Street. Investigators say the 2 men got away and are held up in a building on Lockwood Drive and Lyons Avenue. This has been a violent week for law enforcement all across our area. The man accused of stabbing a Houston Police Department canine over the weekend is now charged with murder. 26-year-old Ryan Smith is also accused of killing his father. Smith is set to appear in court tomorrow morning. The state is asking for a $2 million bond. A candlelight vigil was held tonight for a Harris County Sheriff's Sergeant who was hit and killed while directing traffic on the East Sam Houston Parkway at Tidwell earlier this week. Today, a procession escorted the body of Sergeant Ramon Gutierrez from the medical examiner's office to a funeral home in Southwest Houston. And for our weather, a cool and cloudy night with temperatures dropping into the 50s.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Frank Billingsley. Temperatures on the warmer side today, 64 at Bush, 63 Hobby, and 62 in Galveston right now. It's a fairly nice evening. Some thin cloud cover expected with temperatures in the mid-50s at Bush, 60 in Sugarland right now. If you're going to walk that dog, look for temperatures to slide right down through the low 50s with overnight numbers in the general 44 to 46 range. There's that cloud cover coming in. We may see a quick sprinkle tomorrow as that low moves across to our south anyway. I think if you're north of I-10, chances are not terribly good, but this cold air, that's going to start parking itself again as we go into the afternoon hours as that line clears. Sunny, cool weather as we move into the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, 62 to 66 with lows in the 34 to 40 range. Monday, an 80% chance of rain. Still watching Groundhog's Day, and next Thursday for some precipitation. I'm Chief Meteorologist Frank Billingsley. Have a safe evening.